We have 6 sister cities, as you may know, and one of them is Akashi, and I want to return to that because I've had more contact with that city. We have a sister city in Baguio, Philippines, Trondheim, Norway, La Spezia, Italy, and also very interesting one in Africa. But I want to come back to Akashi because I did go through all the offices, you know, the secretary and the vice presidency and the presidency way back in late 80s, early 90s. And I was president in 1991, and I love to talk about that because so many things happened that year. That 1 year. And it started out with, we knew we were going to have a student group, but before we got that far, we had this huge tea ceremony group that came from, they were students from Kyoto. And they brought with them lots of hardware, and after it was all over, they gave it to the local museum, which was wonderful, and they could put it all on display. I have 5 minutes. I wanted to talk to you about the schools, but mainly they don't usually learn too much of conversation in their classes, so they import people, and I was one of those imported to Akashi to help with conversation English. Very important to them. I thought the schools were very interesting, and I'll tell you a little bit about the junior high and the high school where I taught. I also taught adults, and in fact, that has been such a treasure because they were, let's say, probably middle-aged, almost middle-aged when they were my students 30 years ago or 25 years ago. And now they're older, and it's so wonderful that they still want to get together. So we get together every 5 years. When we visit Japan, we have a wonderful exchange with Akashi at that time, and in fact, we have one which will be coming up in 2013. And our last was 2008, when we had a baseball team exchange, and was only about 100 degrees the whole time we were in Akashi. And the transportation, I think it's wonderful that they have such a wonderful train system and bicycles. And so they get around very well with their transportation. It's on the inland sea, Akashi is, and it had an earthquake along with Kobe in 1995. Really, really serious one. And in the island that's nearby called Awaji, you know, when you arrange for sister city connections, you try to incorporate some of the facets of the cities that are similar. Some of the personality of the cities, let's say, some of the economics of the cities, and so on. And so, of course, Akashi has an island. We have an island, and we have waterways. They have waterways. A lot of fishing, one of their main industries. And I remember that when I was teaching English there, especially because at night, my apartment was close enough that I could hear the fishing industry kaboom, 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 whatever. You know, there was very heavy industry. And so I would lie awake, right? So they really got into my head with that industry. And the earthquake was very serious, and we did help. And as a result, we had a group come at Christmas time after the earthquake, and they decided they would give us a reception here in our museum, downtown museum, to thank us for the assistance that we rendered to them after that earthquake. Had such a terrible disaster. Several disasters this year, which we feel very, very grievous about. And we know it will take a long time for them to rebuild. and we're sure that we're going to be able to assist them in some way down the line. We have a grant that we're attempting to get and have to have everything ready by June 15th, so we're really busy with that. That will help us, if we get the grant, it will help us, what would we say, progress with our relationship with Akashi to a better and better relationship. We have a wonderful relationship now. We want to make sure that we sustain that. We have a beautiful Japanese garden that was presented to us by Akashi, and we have it on display near City Hall, so be sure and check that out if you're around our City Hall.
Good evening. My name is Marv Fruth. I was the association president in the years 1981 and 1982. And in those 2 years, we had two large contingency groups from Akashi come to our city. The first one in 1981 was a Ikebana Society, the flower show. It was held at the Dan Foley Center. And at that particular time, my wife and I hosted a mother, father, and a daughter. And we had a great time. The gentleman happened to be a master of the green tea ceremony. And while he was staying in our home, he demonstrated exactly what was involved with the traditional tea ceremony. It was the flower show went over very well in the city of Vallejo. There were a lot of people. We completely filled the main room in the facility. We entertained the mother, daughter, and the father, and about a year or two later, the daughter came over to the United States and got married. And my daughter ended up being the bridesmaid for this particular wedding. So we've had a very close relationship with that particular family. In 1982, we had the Kimona group come in. That was also held at the Dan Foley Center. And during that visit, we were privileged to host the mayor of Akashi and his wife. And it just so happened that at that particular time, the SisterCity Commission took care of almost everything. Back in the early 80s, the commission had funds. So they supplied us with a chauffeur. And we used a police car, and any place the mayor of Akashi went, he was driven by the chauffeur who happened to be a reserve police officer. So we had a great deal of fun doing that. They did not speak English, the mayor and his wife. Very fortunate for me, I was married to a Japanese woman, so we were able to communicate that way, and also the mayor absolutely enjoyed our meals. He had a lot of good home cooking, so he really appreciated that. And we set him up in our master bedroom, and we rented some furniture for them so that they had their own little quiet area, so they could get away when they wanted to. But it's been a very, very interesting experience. I've been with the organization now, I guess about 30, 35 years. And I have hosted most probably 20 and 30 different people in our home. So it's a very entertaining thing to get involved with. That's one of the main reasons I'm in the SisterCity Association. So it's a great deal of fun. The age varies a great deal with the people that come over. So we've had people in our home, like 75, 80 years old, and some down to 12, 13 years old over the years. So it's been a great deal of fun.